Hello, and welcome to this edition of EMS Now Up Close. I'm Eric Miskell with EMS Now, and it's my pleasure today to speak once again with Francisco Almada Lobo. He's the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Critical Manufacturing. Critical Manufacturing, of course, is one of the leading MES providers in our industry. Francisco, I had the benefit of interviewing you earlier in the year, and you gave a great overview about MES, and we had a very good conversation, I thought. So I wanted to follow up because I know that you recently had this international summit that you hosted in Portugal that was titled MES and Industry 4.0. And I love the combining of those two. The mix. I think that's fantastic. Tell us about the summit, how it went, what the highlights were.
All right. Thank you so much, Eric. It's a pleasure to be talking to you again. Yes. So first of all, the theme MES in Industry 4.0 was not by accident. So what we want to portray, what we want to say to the industry is that MES is an essential element for the Industry 4.0 to become a reality. And so because of that, and because we are in the MES space, we decided to do this MES summit with this theme. And we have really an outstanding event. So we're talking about more than 500 people attending, with a mixture of customers, prospects, system integrators, analysts, journalists. So it was really a great mix. We had a main stage where we had some invited speakers, including from customers and from other sources. We had an expo area where our partners, both system integrators or technology partners, were able to do some roundtables, were able to do some demonstrations of their capabilities. And we have an expo area for our own products in which we had interaction with different robots. We had for the SMT interaction with the NAGV system and how things would work together. So we had a number of things. So we're talking about 1.5 days of event in the beautiful city of Porto, UNESCO World Heritage. Between the wine tasting events and so on, we did talk about MES in Industry 4.0. I would say with great success. So everyone was very happy about it. And, put back to your initial question, one of the things that was interesting was that people gave their opinion about where they are in the journey of Industry 4.0, what did not work, what failed in the very beginning, and how they decided to pivot towards MES as one of the essential blocks that will allow them to later get the benefits of the Industry 4.0 later on. So that's kind of the main idea. And then we have, because we have many people talking, right? We have companies and individuals that are at different stages in this journey. So some that are really at the very beginning and that's still, overwhelmed with the possibilities and so on. And others that are a little bit more further down the road, that have done the first steps and are starting to see some of the results of those investments.
Okay. Excellent. You said something there I find very interesting, which is the it sounded like the MES is seen almost as an enabler of the Industry 4.0 in that case. So, and I know that it's been said that MES is the backbone of Industry 4.0. Tell me kind of how that is true and how that works out.
Yeah, very good. So, let's start with what an MES does. Okay, so an MES is supposed to create what we today call in the industry a digital twin of the manufacturing, which means that all the processes, all the assets, all the materials, all the equipment, inventories, everything needs to be mapped into a digital format. Okay, so that's the first step, and that's basically the essence of what MES does in the very beginning, is to map and to be able to have those in a kind of a twin on the other side. And then based on that, we start first of all collecting real-time information about everything that's happening. Once we have this type of twin, with a lot of connectivity, that is also an important step, connectivity to equipment or to any other source that can provide data, and then start mapping out this data within the twin. Okay, so that's the thing which is important. The other thing that MES does is it makes sure that the process is run as intended. So it's not only passively collecting data, but is making sure that the processes, the way they were established, are running in a proper way. This means stopping if something is not right, if a threshold is hit or something like that. So that's the kind of the second portion. Then the majority of the things that people think Industry 4.0 is about to provide them in terms of the artificial intelligence, in terms of gathering data that allows them further insights and being more optimized or getting some specific correlations that allow them to do ramp up faster in terms of products and things like that. That does not work if this is done individually just for those use cases, but this is something that works very well once it is sufficiently contextualized in the entire digital twin that has been built. Okay, and so it's like it's almost like anything else that you can imagine. All the buzzwords around Industry 4.0, AI, IoT data platforms, augmented reality, all of the things that you can imagine, all of those can be then plugged into a solid basis, into a solid backbone, as we call it. Okay. And that's the overall idea. And what people are starting to realize is that when they start not having this in mind, and they just go into the point use cases for resolving one particular problem, it doesn't get them very far for different reasons. First, because the use case might change, and so all the effort that they have put in there might not yield the results that they wanted. And also because different use cases then don't have a common glue, don't have a common base. And therefore, at the end, they become kind of isolated initiatives without a real benefit. So if you have this more consistent approach, then you always adding things into the common goal. So that's essentially the role of MES in this Industry 4.0 revolution, is to be this backbone. I did the presentation, it's called the stairway, not the stairway to heaven, but the stairway into Industry 4.0. And the first steps are really these first steps of MES and the basic mapping which needs to be done.
Okay, and I like the way you conceptualize that. That's a very good kind of an imagery to kind of to conceive of. So tell me then, Industry 4.0, we've been talking about it a long time. Why do you think those Industry 4.0 projects are really not yielding the promised results yet?
Yeah, because people enter what McKinsey called the pilot purgatory, which means, first they're just trying many times technology for technology's sake without an end in mind. And this is, of course, dangerous, especially because technology changes quite rapidly. Second is, even within a single use case that might not get to the result because this was basically created to just resolve that particular problem that they have. And then one of the most important things is that even if you are successful with this pilot, it's just a pilot. And so you need to then deploy this at scale, whether into other areas of the same factory, or our target customers are really multi-site type of customers with many different manufacturing plants. Is how can you deploy those into all the factories so that you can really reap the benefits of the investment that you have done. Mm-hmm. And companies stuck along the way. So they stuck in all the phases, in just using technology for technology's sake, in not getting the benefits of a specific use case, of not being able to deploy, and then because they just pick specific use cases that, once again, things change very rapidly. And so some of the use cases that they have made, some of the analyses that they believed would create results, maybe a few months later down the road, something changed and they're no longer getting those results. And so at the end, the majority of the investments are not yielding the results expected, right? We don't see, and this is very interesting, you can see this in a number of ways. So you don't see really productivity gains in manufacturing overall. I saw something very interesting very recently, like manufacturing in the US, despite all the technology additions that are being added, productivity is not increasing. Right, and so this is incredibly interesting. We should make us think. What's going on here, right? And one of the things is that just technology for technology's sake is not creating value.
Let me ask a question the other way then. Are you also seeing the successes after so many years with Industry 4.0, people pursuing it, the tools being available? There must be some people realizing success out of this as well.
They are, absolutely, they are. But typically these are the ones that believe, that understand that there's no quick wins.
Mm.
So they need to have firm plans of where they want to stay, where they want to stay within a certain, where they want to stay within a certain amount of years, and what needs to be done. And it's a lot of work because, you know, if you think about just an MES type of program, and again, not wanting to talk specifically about MES, but you could talk about the same about a PLM or about an ERP system or anything like that. So the more transformational, heavy type of systems in that sense, you know, they are transformational by nature. So there's different people, different roles, different stakeholders that are involved, and you know, the software itself and the technology which is being deployed will change the way people operate on a daily basis. So obviously, this is difficult. This is difficult. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of buy-in, and so that's why there's no immediate quick gains in this kind of game. So that's why, you know, major transformations, especially the ones now talking about the ones I know better, which are the MES ones, these large ones, you start getting some benefits after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or sometimes more. It takes time until you get. Am I saying that there are no successes? Absolutely not. So we saw even on the MES Summit that many customers have already quite interesting successes. But of course, you know, it will take time. They understand this is a journey, and they understand that the journey will take time.
Okay, good. Now, and that's interesting because one of the I want to follow up on one of the topics you mentioned in there, which is AI. AI these days is seen as kind of this panacea of all the problems in the world, right? We're just going to throw it into AI and it's going to spit out these marvelous solutions for us. So what is the relation then for AI with the MES systems?
It's a very interesting question. If I would win $1 for every time that I hear people say that AI will resolve all their problems, I'll be rich by now. So, you know, that's something which is interesting, and it started in manufacturing. It started very much with predictive models, particularly around maintenance. So maintenance was the first area. Everyone talked about it, right? And the main message was, okay, if we can collect data from sensors, so data is now available. Sensors are relatively cheap. We have communication power, computation power. So all of a sudden, we're able to collect the huge amount of data that the sensors can provide. And so based on that and based on some historical information, we can not only understand what's going on, but we can actually predict with a certain probability, with a certain likelihood, what is going to happen. And if we can, for instance, in the maintenance area, predict if a machine is going to break, we can either, you know, anticipate maintenance and save a lot of money by doing that, or if the machine is not going to break, we can postpone maintenance and still get a lot of money back from it. Okay, so the maintenance is an area which makes it very easy to see the benefits. Now the problem is, if you just consider that you have data that will come from a specific sensor, say a temperature or a vibration sensor, the only thing you can see is, of course, if you have some monitoring type of sensor, you can see that there's some degradation, perhaps. But then you don't have much more information to derive really intelligence. And so the only way to derive intelligence is to do something that we call in the industry adding context. So we need to have additional contextual information. And the additional contextual information would be, okay, so this sensor is really going that way. You know, can we correlate this to the type of product that the machine is building? Can we correlate what's happening to when the last maintenance take place, and what type of maintenance it was? And so if we enrich the data points with this additional contextual information, then we can derive much more insights and much more intelligence out of this. And the number one system that has all this contextual information in the shop floor is the one that creates this digital twin, which is the MES.
Yes.
Okay? And that's how everything then gets together, is that the MES is not the MES itself that's going to drive, it's going to be able to all of a sudden derive all the intelligence which you need to improve. And here I'm talking about maintenance, but you could see improving yield, improving cycle time, improving new product introduction, whatever we want to see. But it's this additional contextual information that will allow creating all these use cases with much more possibilities, with much more correlations, with much more data, that at the end, of course, then when data science comes in, and when different algorithms are tried, are tested against huge data sets in order to have these predictions for the future. So MES is an essential element of that, and I think people are starting to realize that.
Yeah. So how is that with kind of the ascension of AI over the last year, really? How has that changed the customer's requests for what of critical manufacturing and the
Yeah,
solution you provide?
that's quite interesting, because I think we're at the point in which people are starting to say, okay, can we have some use cases in this area? Can we start seeing how things, how certain characteristics, how certain parameters, how certain processes evolve? In the past, like 1 year ago, what most people were asking us to is that I don't know what to do with this data, but I know that I need it, right? And so people would say, I have my data is an asset, and I want to do something with it. I don't know yet what I will do with it, but I want it. And so the first step was, okay, let's try to collect this information. Let's try to make all this data available for whatever type of algorithms or analysis they may want to have in the future. And now they're going into the second phase, which is, okay, now that I see all of this, I need to start seeing how certain algorithms will allow me to derive some intelligence from this data. And so this is the stage where we are right now, is a stage in which, different people with data science background, with data analysis background, and also specifically with some specific manufacturing domain knowledge, because there's no such thing as one algorithm that all of a sudden will improve everything. So you really need the combination of these three disciplines in order to be able to get some results at the end. So once again, and I'm sorry to disappoint all people that are listening to this, is that it's difficult. So it's not that if a vendor says, yes, with artificial intelligence, I can improve your yield by X%, no matter which industry you're in, this is not possible, right?
Yeah, be skeptical is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I did notice one of the themes from the summit was unleashing the power of software, right? Which was that, and that seems to speak to what we're talking about here, both within the MES doing the digital twin, but also when you bring in the AI. That's really is coveraging using that software to achieve the true Industry 4.0.
Yeah.
Is that the theme?
Yes, it is. It is. So in the past, the industry was basically all about investment in the hardware elements. So this means in better machines, more accurate machines, faster machines, better ones, and so on. And everyone understood that with a lot of things that happened, machines are becoming similar to each other. The differences that you can have from different vendors and so on, it's many times getting to some smaller details. It's a little bit faster, it's a little bit more accurate, but it's difficult. So where the advantage comes from is on the layers of software, because the layers of software are the ones that can then allow solutions that at the end, solutions comprising both hardware and software, and these combined solutions are the ones that can then yield better results than the other if software and hardware work in combination. So yes, I mean, the software is disrupting the manufacturing industry. That's for sure, and it has to do with a number of revolutions. It's the software revolution, it's the sensor revolution, it's the data revolution, and then it's the AI revolution, right? And so all of those are elements that are putting all of us towards the Industry 4.0 results that we all want to achieve.
Yeah, no, excellent. Now, so this was your first such summit. Are you planning another one? Is this going to become an annual event there in Porta?
Yeah, absolutely. So we did not know what to expect because it was our first. Of course, we had some expectations, but it was difficult to predict. But just seeing more than 500 people, just seeing the excitement about everyone talking about where they are in the journey, what are the challenges, and also the speakers. Some of our customers were speaking openly about the challenges they have. What did go well, what did not go well, and so everyone was learning a lot. And so it was really, we had such great results that for sure we're doing it again. And the only thing that we are talking among ourselves right now is when. If it's going to be immediately now in September again, or if it's going to be on another month, but definitely there will be a second edition.
So for those people who were watching this are interested in critical and don't want to wait a year to come to a summit, where can they meet you in the meantime?
Yeah, so you mean in physical trade shows? So first of all, I'm always available online, both on LinkedIn or by email. So that's That's something that people can get access to us very quickly. But in terms of trade shows, so we're going to be later now on the fall on the Prodotronica trade show. We're going to be at Semi Europa trade show as well, so both for electronics and semiconductor. Next year, Apex in North America, then Hanover MES. So we're going to be, at several different trade shows throughout the year, and we typically use those moments to introduce the solutions, to provide demos, to have interesting conversations, and to explain what we're doing and how we are providing advantage to our customers in this space.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you always give good, insightful information, Francisco. So I always appreciate the chance to speak to you, and I thank you for your time today. And I hope we can do this again in the future to get more updates.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Eric. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Take good care.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.